And we are live for another Eziko episode. Hello, family.
Episode.
Hello. Hi, Noo.
Hey, Coach
Partner.
Landy. Hey,
Yes,
Pam.
this is where Josie meets Natal, meets the
KwaZulu.
whole of South Africa. Oh,
KwaZulu.
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 Josie, yeah, and mina KwaZulu, like at the
Hey, KwaZulu.
at the center makuthiwa esizindeni.
I know.
Yes, this is what Eziko means. It's when everybody comes home from wherever you've been throughout the day and you come to meet together in this one common place. So hello and welcome from wherever you are joining us from to this episode. We are within after Amabokoboko one.
Oh, yeah.
And after the rains came, after we just decided we are done with Umgo, we decided when the man starts with Mba, we are in the
Mm.
festive. So we are within the festive season. Happy festive season, people. And we are continuing with our series on festive season relationship dynamics. And today we are deep diving into izindaba zaseKoTIVILLE because it is Kotizaring season. But before we dive into that, let's just quickly remind you of our upcoming in-person conversation that's going to be in Gauteng at Naledi Farm. Remind us.
Please, so everybody, before Umgo gets going for the month of December, please set a date to meet with myself and Coach Lundy at Naledi Farm in Centurion on the 9th of December. And over there, we will be discussing those unhealthy patterns that keep coming up in relationships. Okay, and we're going to be talking about how it is that you find yourself caught up in the cycles, the toxic cycles, and what it is that you can do to put a stop to it. Because no matter where you go, no matter the different types of people you try to interact with, you find yourself just embroiled in the same drama over and over again. So, be it betrayal, be it being victimized, be it rejection, you name it, okay? Be it people coming into your life just to scam you, just to use you and discard you after they are done. You want to know how that came to be? Come to Naledi Farm. We'll be talking about all of those things, whether those patterns are evident in your romantic relationships, in your work relationships, or even in your family relationships. Because we do have people that say, yo, Mina, my family only knows me when they need money, but they will never call me to ask how I'm doing. So you want to know how that came about? Come to Naledi Farm. We will tell you the causes and how it is that you find yourself caught up in that drama. But most importantly, what you can then do to put a stop to it so that come 2024, you start anew, knowing how to start over and having the kinds of relationships that you desire as opposed to being a victim of circumstances. So come to Naledi Farm. We will put a link on how you can purchase your tickets at the bottom of this recording. But yes, please, would be very happy to have you there on the 9th of December. It's going to be a blast.
Yes, we are having in Christmas. So we'll be having a very nice lunch prepared for us there as well because we festive season months. So we're looking forward to seeing you all there. If you have these unwanted patterns that just keep repeating themselves in your intimate relationships, in your any key significant relationship, let's put it like that, in any key significant relationships that has a significant impact on your life, and this thing has become a thorn. It's you've tried. It's not a lack of effort on your part to change. It's not a lack of desire for things, but things just refuse to change. We'll be deep diving into the unforeseen, the unseen forces behind the existence of these things. The patterns you'll get to understand the patterns that actually perpetuate these unwanted patterns. So if you are struggling with unwanted patterns that keep repeating in relationships, this event is for you, and you've tried. By all means, like you don't know, you are at your wits' end and you don't know what else to do go to the link. We'll leave it here. If you have any other questions or queries around that event, it's on the 9th. We'll be starting 9 a.m. It's going to run until about 4 p.m. So it's going to be a full day. It will be a group. So yes, please come and join us. So it is the festive season. Back to today's topic. Still unpacking the different ways that these unwanted patterns show up. So there's already anxiety. The festive season for me personally is the time where I get a lot of emergency coaching session requests because people have to go home from their work environments. They need to return home to their families and all of this stuff. So there's overwhelm, there's anxiety, there's depression, there's a whole lot of negative emotion cocktails that people are just trying to navigate themselves around during this festive season. And one of the dynamics that puts a lot of stress is ukukotiza, or going to your in-laws during the festive season. It's one of the things that we sign up for when we get into matrimonial, when we get into these unions. Yes, we understand. I'm leaving my family, joining my husband's family. And then there's the kotizaring thing. So first of all, I personally haven't experienced that type of stress myself personally. And a lot of people think it's because I do not have a mother. Yes, there are events that go on at my husband's family over December. Yeah, I think for as long as I've been here, there's always has been something that happens over December, and we always go and show up. But I've never had the stressful experience of being in my court and having to show up and fulfill the duties and the obligations of that role. And many people think that the contributing factor is the fact that I do not have umamezala, or a mother-in-law. So to start our conversation, I'm going to be more of very curious based on what I've observed around the stressful dynamics, and also just out of curiosity, G, from what I've helped my clients work through in these emergency sessions when somebody's like, no, I need an hour, just I'm gonna go sit in the car, I'm gonna drive, let's talk, you know. So let's maybe start about, because nobody calls me during Easter or any other weekend. It's December. So unpack this December situation for us and its effect on KOTIVILLE.
So December causes the most stress and anxiety because traditionally, with the introduction of migrant labor, it was the one holiday where people were guaranteed to come back home, to make the trek back home, wherever home was in the homelands of South Africa and even across the borders of South Africa. So people then who were back home, and when I say back home, in the homelands, looked forward to seeing their relatives in this one time of the year. And because those people had left home to go work, they were expected to come bearing gifts for Christmas. So the expectation then grew, which is why Christmas is such a big deal. But over and above that, if now Uputi has a wife, okay, that he probably met in the cities or who had to go join him emadolobheni, wherever it is, your Joburgs, your Cape Towns, your Durbans, obviously Ubuti won't come back alone, but he will now come back with the new wife, who, remember, according to our customs, after a bride got married, ukukotiza happened straight after the wedding. So, but now if they were now living away from home, even due to work or whatever other reason, most definitely in December they have leave, so they have to come home. So you sort of make up for your absence as a makoti, where you are expected to now fulfill your wifely and marital duties, not only to your husband, but to the extended family. Okay. So, and also due to the understanding that those people are working, so it's double the expectation now. So whereas it was Ubuti in the beginning on his own, Ubuti coming with his beautiful wife, Londek, how Ulondeka Pela now understands Ubuti, there's groceries. You must now bring groceries from when you guys will be there arriving, for during, for Christmas, and for after you guys are gone. Because this now also forms part of your makoti duties, isn't it? And also remember now your own family of origin, you must also make a drive to deliver goods and be a Mother Christmas. So this is why it became such a huge thing. So even for those that don't get to leave the province, for example, so let's say you guys never left your province of origin, but you live away from the in-laws' house, so the parents-in-laws' house, there is still an expectation that you would go there and kotiza and provide and be Mother and Father Christmas. So whether they come to your house or you go to their house, either way, the kotiza ring goes hand in hand with the provision of the Christmas period. So I think just to give it context, that's how it all started. And it comes in different forms, in that the makotis who feel the most stress are the ones who are living away from their in-laws' home and their own homes in the cities, because they are working women who are also expected to come and kotiza. But then there's also the other makoti who gets to be left behind at home in the homelands, who must prepare. So whether they have a career or not. So there's just a whole lot of politics and drama there. In the makoti camps itself. Others are favored over it's just a lot. But I think also this period of the year, just on its own, has a tendency to bring up long-standing and sometimes hidden issues that exist within the family, because we are going to be cooked together for the longest period of time in once a year, and have to navigate so many issues. So I think the anxiety comes from that a lot. Yeah, it does.
No, I get you. And I get all that. But what comes to mind for me is, what then is kotiza?
Okay.
What is that? Like, unpack that, because there's the element of provision. There's the element of duties that I have now inherited because of my becoming a member of this family through marriage. So what in its essence is kotiza? Because I've noticed two dynamics. There are those that really want to go emakhaya in kotiza, but they are unable to because maybe they are not officially a makoti. And this is the one time also in the year where people want to go meet the family of the man. Like, they're not going to bother him any other time of the year. But come December, they want to go and meet the family. It's another December and he's not sending me to meet his family. There's those issues because this woman feels I should be cotizaring in December, And then there's those who are like, yay, we've started our own family. can I be kwami nam over this December? So the element of December, okay, we're getting it back in the day, but now we are in the 21st century. Is it really a case of we haven't caught up and moved with the times? Because yes, dynamics back then said the only time we had enough leave or enough time to ourselves was during December. But we're now in the 21st century, and are the dynamics still the same? Is that really the reason behind it now in this day and age? Or what is it? Because something is just not making 1 + 1 = 2 in this whole dynamic.
So I think let's start here, Coach Landy. Let's start here. I think this issue is twofold, ne? So there is the issue of provision, which somehow got intertwined with the ukukotiza part. And they all come wrapped in one package called festive season, you know, which is why now it's very difficult to tell which is which. But let's start here. Traditionally, what ukukotiza is, ukukotiza, and ukukotiza has an expiry date of sorts, and it's got levels to it, right? So in Xhosa, when you are a new bride, like newly married, there's even a garb, an attire for it. I think you've seen women in black dukes with white shirts, shweshwe skirts, scarves around them. Those are called umchakazi, meaning new, literally, umcha. You are a new bride. Ne? Ukukotiza, in its original format, is for you as the bride to be initiated and taught into the ways of the family, your husband's family, how things are done. So the mother-in-law, like the women, are the ones who will train you on how things are done here at home, in this home, so that you know. So the day-to-day running of the home, you will be shown where things are, what to do, and all of those things, and all of the other female relatives. But the main mentor being the mother-in-law, right? That in its original format. And also this is done to sort of give you a support, because they understand that as a new couple, you are also arriving at marriageville, you know. Yes, you want to be on your own, but you do need the support. You're just like a newborn baby, if you think about it, né? And then when they feel that the time is right now, it is then that you will be now sent off to go and start your own home. So that's where you will go and buy your own house or build or whatever it is. But it is just that initiation period, you know. But as all things in the world, it got abused. So mothers-in-law have scores to settle because their mothers-in-law were horrible to them, and now this is their chance. But in its original form, it was never meant to be that. It was just meant for you to just get the orientation like we do when we join a new company, when we go to work. I mean, it's only natural. You just arriving. You're a stranger, literally, right? So they will show you. So also when there's big events in the family, those that don't come around often, imigidi, imicimbi, easy for whatever it is, you are taken through the ropes and shown how things are done, what your roles are, what your duties are, what, you know. So it's a never ending thing, you know, but it's got levels. So I mean, after that first initial period, you sort of graduate and it eases up a bit, and you move up the the ranks, so to speak, when the other new makotis come in, or the certain duties that you are no longer expected to perform, and all of those things. So that is ukukotiza, and that is one side. So that being said, it's not a strange phenomenon for you to be expected to continue phela on angithi vele you are a makoti in this family. So it's December time. So if you are going to your husband's home where you are a makoti, come on, you can be anything else except a makoti. But also the terms and conditions of that can and do get negotiated according to the circumstances, according to the living situations, whatever it is. They are not cast in stone. You know what I mean? Like Abomamezala can have an understanding that but this person works the whole year, they're also tired, so they can't be expected to do so much. And then you can negotiate on what can be done and all of those things, right? So it doesn't need to be as dramatic as it has become. But again, like I said, then there comes the provision part where you work.
So
So
before you move to the provision part, because I
mm,
think what you've just unpacked for us is very important,
mm,
especially because of the dynamics I gave you. That so this is just to straighten out what in fact is the effect of the matter, you know,
yeah.
because I feel it's very important for us to be clear and have a clear understanding about the things that we engage in and the stuff
Mm,
that we sign up for, because sometimes we are wanting, I always use this example, Uguti, our relationships have stages that
mm,
are determined, that determine the roles, that determine the expectations, that determine the way that we function and operate within the relationship. And
mm,
so for a lot of people, December becomes stressful at time because there is a lack of understanding on
mm,
what exactly is it that you are doing, why, when, and how, and what, and all of these things. So it's very important to understand because we see it in our families all the time. Oh, brother will come with this one because they are now the mother of the kids, and girl is putting all this pressure, wanting to go and kotiza bogampana. They have no business doing that.
none,
You know, no
none.
business doing that. So one of the things that I really want to make sure that we, more than anything, I think it will eliminate even our decision. It will even help us in our decision making and
Mm,
ease up even on the expectations and help even the people that we are in relationship with understand the level that our relationship is in. Ne?
mm,
So if
mm,
Ukutiza is an initiation period that
mhm.
happens after we have
Yes,
been married on
yes.
whatever level marriage that is recognized by the
Mm,
families,
mm,
or whatever you decide is an acceptable level that qualifies you to be a
yes.
wedded person in this family,
Njeke.
then you have the obligation, first and
Yes.
foremost, it is now
Mm,
an obligation.
mm.
Now it is not a matter of preference. So it's not
No,
going to be a thing of I feel like it, I don't feel like it.
no.
Because I think those are the things that get us all wrapped up and confused and frustrated and overwhelmed because we don't understand what it is that we are engaging. So when you
Mm,
have been acknowledged as a wedded, as a member of this family through wedded, whatever ceremonies or rituals or whatever that qualify as stamp of approval from the family, you have an
yes,
obligation to
you do.
meet.
Yeah.
You have an obligation. It is now an obligation. You then treat obligations like how obligations are supposed to be treated. This thing is like motherhood. When you
Mm,
give birth to a child, you have an obligation to now be a mother.
mm.
Whether you feel ready, not ready, whether you are prepared or unprepared, doesn't matter.
It
You
doesn't.
are a mother.
You are.
So let's approach it in that way. I think that will
Mm,
eliminate a whole lot of drama around this time. And even the conversations that the couples have, because women will come and say, no, my partner isn't supportive. He doesn't listen. He doesn't understand. But if you really have these key conversations so that you each understand what level is this relationship? What level
before.
is this relationship? Then you will know where you stand go January about
Yeah,
December. There will be
exactly.
no confusion. People's expectations will then no longer be your burden.
Mm.
Because if
Yeah.
people are ignorant and if people are illiterate around their own rituals, their own family values, their own, it's not your problem. that the
Exactly.
family you are marrying into is illiterate in family values, is negligent in family values. That's not your problem. If they make assumptions based on the level of closeness, based on the level of the bond you share with a partner that has not introduced you into the family in that way, then you are free to not be gallivanting into KOTIVILLE. You are free.
I think you are so right, Coach Lundi. You know, we like things, hey, and in us liking things, we like complicating things and getting ourselves into such messy situations. People need to honor where they are in life and in the relationships that they have. If that man has not honored you and gone to your family in whatever way to say, I am asking for her hand in marriage, you have absolutely no business being there. Number one, you shouldn't even be there. If you do happen to have a child with somebody, but you guys are still not in holy matrimony, however you want to term it culturally, home affairs, it doesn't matter. If you are not recognized as the wife, your only job is to bring the child for December. If your child is still younger, just make sure your child doesn't go knocking people out and all of those things. But you have no business being in the kitchen. All you are is umama kabanibani, and you sit in your corner. And I think these are some of the lessons that you keep missing in modern society. I was lucky enough that I came from a family, that trained me on these things, that told me, that would even, like, I would even be denied. I mean, you know, when you have a boyfriend and you head over heels and you're like, they've invited me for Christmas. I said, like, you're not going there because you are a girlfriend, because you've got no business moving up and down in people's kitchens because you are a girlfriend. So I think let's start there. So I think also, so when you do get married, another thing that you need to clarify is that, guys, please check out the notion. Take your nearest dustbin, take that thought and throw it in that bin. You don't marry your man alone. You marry into the family. Finish and clear. I don't care if, Nina, you classify yourselves as modern, you are non-traditional, you are this. Even white people, you understand what you are marrying into the family. It stops being about you and your man the day you decide to involve families. And so you cannot and will not get to decide after jumping that broom and carrying other people's surname as your own, that when you don't want to be part of them. You already are. So deal with it. So it's that obligation that you are talking about. Okay. So ugoduka, going home, should never be. That's why men get confused when we change on them and start telling them that, go to your house. They look at you like, what has gotten into you? Because to them, it's a non-negotiable. There may be issues that need sorting out at his home, but you staying away is not going to solve anything. You need to go there actually and sort them out in person. Yeah, but so that's point number one. So I think if people get to understand that, also remember that marriage is about extending the family. So it's best that you get used to the dynamics, even if they're very unhealthy, even if they're very unfavorable, so that by the time you start having children into this family, you have laid the path and your children come to a healthier environment, because this is their family too. So you want to make sure that your children have a healthy relationship with the father side of the family of which you are married into. And one of the other things, and by me saying all of this, I am not disputing that in-laws will sometimes want to be nasty and settle scores, like, sisters-in-law would not want to work now that you're there, they want you to. That's a discussion for another story. But what I'm trying to say is, if you say yes to that man, yes, I will marry you, understand that you are marrying into his family, toxicity and on, and you are saying that you are putting your hand up to fixing whatever needs to be fixed. So staying away is not the key. And yes, you want to start your own traditions, there will come a time for that. But if your marriage is less than 10 years old, I'm sorry to say, you're not there yet. You don't qualify for that. You will still need to go duka at least minimum 10 years. People start negotiating things of no, we're not coming down, rather come up to Joburg way after the 10-year mark. It's not cast in stone, but also it's as and when your marriage matures that it starts making sense. It starts making sense for you to not have to go down to KZN or Eastern Cape every December. It may not make financial sense. It may not, but trust you me, it is needed and it is a requirement, because I think the other side of the coin is that if you want to force your in-laws to start coming into your house when your marriage is not mature enough, your mother-in-law can't help it, or your sisters-in-law. They'll come in there and start looking for things that are not going right. Your curtains are skew, all of this, and you'll be hurt because you're still not equipped on how to handle such things. So if you are doing a nice build up over 10 years, by the time she comes, you have built such a nice relationship that even when she sees your curtains, it's not deal to her, and it's not the kind of thing that will cause tension and altercations and people crying because your mother said this to me. So there is method to the madness. There is method to the madness. So I think once people get to that stage, you will stop fighting it and actually just stop going against the tide and rather go with the flow, because it's going somewhere and it's for your own good, actually, as a makoti in this family. Because one day this mother-in-law will not be around and you will have to take up her position. And what would you know by then if your option is to pull out and run away? So yeah, there is a method to the madness.
Yeah. And really, I really do want to encourage people to really take this with a sense of calmness, and really an open mind and
Yes.
the teachable spirit. Because the unfortunate thing is a lot of us walk into marriage without any preparation for it because of the dynamics of the society that we grew up in, that we live in. So we really go in there unprepared and prematurely sometimes,
Yeah.
immature sometimes. And so it's having these conversations that allow us to reflect on our experience. More than anything, treat this as a reflection period. If you are in that situation where KOTIVILLE is not the most blissful things for you, it's giving you stress and anxiety, especially around this time. Now, you mentioned something else. So the first thing is understand where you are in your relationship. That's number one. That will help you clean up any misconceptions and any expectations that are misaligned. So it will clean that whole thing up. Your own expectations, your partner's expectations, their family's expectations. When there's clarity on who are you in this relationship, and then you will know your role according to your title and your status of the relationship. It has nothing to do with the quality of the relationship. This conversation has nothing to do with the quality of the relationship. It has nothing to do with the emotions and the feelings involved in your relationship. It's purely a status conversation. So if your status does not qualify you, then the conversation goes in a totally different way. So now you mentioned something different, that this considering period is not just obligation, it's also support. It's an offering of support for married life. Ne? And I love it, because things are because things are very clear on the journey of marriage, especially a woman's journey in marriage. Now, entering marriage by creating a union is very different from married life.
Yes.
So when you are doing these things, you are getting awakening and disillusionment of what married life is. So that's another thing that it makes this obligation not just a thing that it serves a purpose. It gives it its purpose, because you need through this to learn and the ways of married life. Now, what I've noticed with people that have problems with being umakoti and wanting to be umakoti when they are not, especially around this time of the year, is number one, there's the fear of missing out on whatever. I don't know why people think they're going to miss out on other people's houses and families. I don't know. Then there's the uncommunicated expectations. So that's a conversation for another day. And now there's the distinction of understanding that just because you got in the status, you are not equipped for the life of the status. And now you have to go to school. And there's part of the school is in these obligations where you get to learn married life and practice married life. So this is what I've noticed. Many young, I'm not going to say young in the age, I say young in the sense of how long you've been in union, yaga married. Ne? So many people whose union, yaga marriage is still very young, is still very young. There is a struggle to think long term. There is a struggle to think legacy. There's this essence of instant gratification that people approach their marriage with, which is one of the things that make this whole kotizaring time very stressful, because you do not see or foresee the value in the future, because this thing is like an investment.
It is.
You only see the value of it in the future. You don't see it today while you're doing all this work that you are calling all these nasty names, while you're putting up with all the stuff that you don't want, the discomfort and all these things that you would rather not be doing. So it's that mentality and that mindset and that perception that I've noticed is also a problem that creates stress and overwhelm during this time. That people are not thinking long-term plan. It's all about instant gratification. What do you have to say?
I think first and foremost, I want to say, guys, marriage is a calling. Marriage is a calling. What do I mean by that? You know, something that is a calling. You walk into it thinking it's one thing, but it will call you to become a better and a higher version of who you can be, not who you already are. Because you see, if it cannot bring out parts and versions of you that you didn't even know existed in you, then it's not a calling. So, and by so saying, I want to say that when you get married, you are also signing up to, and I want people to understand me well when I say this, dying to self. I'm not saying kill your individuality, but for this union to happen, two individuals come together with their families behind them, and they form something. And this entity that exists here is the thing that you nurture. Okay? So for you and your husband to come together so that this entity is formed, there are parts of you which are irrelevant in this union that will have to get left behind. So if you were a chief groovist in December, you were known to be the one groove. And if you say yes to this, come on, you're gonna have to resurrect your groovies, I don't know, in other periods. But over here, that part of you is irrelevant. You'd much rather bring the merriment into making the family situation as happy as possible. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's the one thing that people need to understand, because our generation, we are very much focused onto me, what I want, what I. Okay. Forgetting that when we enter into those contracts, when we enter into those unions, there are parts, I didn't say kill all of you, there are parts of you which sometimes serve the individual you that you're going to have to let go of, or maybe transform into others that are now beneficial to the union. Okay. So sometimes maybe on a personal level, because you are not into domestic work, because look, a lot of it is domestic, and a lot of us, we're not very much into that. But it is not about you at this moment, and it's only for a short period of time, 2-3 weeks mostly. And there's benefits for your husband, not just him also at an individual level, but his name and who he brought into this family. Now, like you said, we are not talking about the quality of relationships. We're not there where people are abusing people and but I'm just saying, Uguti, remember his family. It doesn't stop at the wedding day where we want to see how beautiful the bride is. They want to see, Uguti, did he bring us a wife worthy to become one of us, and one that is able to grow and expand this family in so many ways, and sometimes ways that we never even thought we needed. So while those things may look stupid, those things may look abusive, those things, there is so much. And if you come into it with a teachable spirit, with an open mind, you as a makoti gain so much value out of it. You get to learn so much more about this family, and in turn you get to actually learn more about this person you're married to, because there's plenty of times when it's just the two of you, this person will just confuse the living daylights out of you. And you're wondering, but why do you behave the way you do? But when you allow yourself to go into his family home and immerse yourself into that entire experience with a teachable spirit, some things will start making sense about how he behaves and why he says the things he says and why he focuses his attention on these things as opposed to that. You will gain a better understanding and a clearer understanding from, just being there, as opposed to him telling you, this is why this matters to me. This is why I don't like. No, go there, because from the little conversations you have there when you're busy with the pots, with the aunties, they tell you how he grew up, and it puts into context, oh, so this is why he feels this way about a particular thing. you know it is meant to do that. That is what they mean, yes, when they say sakha ubuhlobo. That process is never ending, and the same happens when you go to your home with him, because he gets to see why now you are the way you are. So it's, I think for me, that kind of value has been lost to us because we feel like there's no significance in doing those things. And yet there's so much that we miss out on. So I think maybe if we adjust our attitudes and just go into there with a willingness to learn and just give it a chance, it may just surprise you, and pleasantly surprise you, that is. And like you say, it is a long-term investment, because long after you guys are gone, your children will still need to grow up within this family. So people believe in the fallacy that, no, we've got our own home in the city, our kids won't need this, we've provided well financially and material for our children, but nothing cuts family bonds and ties. You can have all the money and all the material, but your children still need a sense of belonging and a sense of identity that they can only get from forming and cultivating be the keyword, relationships with these people So you cultivate by offering your time, you cultivate by just investing and sometimes maybe giving up some of the things you'd rather be doing, because everybody comes out richer from the experience. Whether you learned good or bad stuff, it doesn't matter. Okusalayo you learned. Not only yourself, your partner, your children, everybody.
So here's something I want to clarify, Nanu. Again, you know, when you were speaking, I thought about the concept of a failed marriage, né? Because as we are unpacking this conversation, we are unpacking the fact that umakoti serves the purpose of offering support so that you have a successful married life. Now, here's another mistake people make. The mistake is thinking that a failed marriage is a marriage where people failed to stay together in union. There are many failed marriages where people are living together and they are calling themselves husbands. Yet those are failed marriages. Because a marriage is a failed marriage when one thing happens, which is what you said. Umshado is supposed to change you. When you deny yourself, when you deny umshado to perform its role and serve its purpose of changing you, the individual, you have failed the institution called marriage. The marriage has not failed you. So this idea of mina ngimina, angeke ngishintshe umshado, fanele accept the way that I am, the moment you start uttering those words out of your mouth, you have failed the institution. Wena self.
Yes.
You have failed the institution, because the function of marriage, the function of union in that level that we are talking about, of involving family at whatever level, that is the trigger for change.
Yes.
So if you fail to come to the party and show up to receive the change, you have failed the institution. Marriage. I think if we just got that, there will really be no drama around, do I go, do I not go, do I bring this, do I not bring that, do I dress like this, do I not dress like that, because that is just the function. Now when we're talking, there's purpose to relationship, then there's function of relationship. The function of marriage is to initiate change, not to initiate, to cultivate change. So if you are not willing to change, when you're failing,
yes, if you're
whether
married,
whether you stay there or you leave, you have failed.
If
because
you are married,
that's what it is built
identity. If you are married, it's good to know who you are. It's good to know who you are and what you stand for. But you can't be married to your identity to the point of warding off any other thing.
Let's keep this distinction. Identity often doesn't give us issues. The thing that gives us issues is self-image. Because self-image is a construct of ego.
You are right.
Identity is a construct of spirit, so it will never give us issues.
Yes.
Marriage helps us meet our identity. It helps us gain consciousness of our identity. That's the purpose of marriage, to help us meet and gain consciousness of our identity. Ego and self-image are what stops that process. Correct. So this dying of self that you were talking about it's the breaking down of ego. It's the releasing of self-image and the constructs that you created, and the embrace of identity. because identity is oneness. So when you walk into this thing that is designed to expand oneness, and you don't wanna infuse and join, then you also have no business being there. And
You
a person
don't.
who walks out of a marriage as a different person than the person they walked in as, that person has succeeded in marriage. That
Coach,
person has succeeded in marriage, because you are not a failure for having walked out of a marriage. You are a failure for having walked out of a marriage being the same person that you walked in as.
oh,
If you
yes.
walked in as X and you walk out as XY, you have been the most successful person in marriage there is. More successful than the person who insists staying as an X that they walked in as. So, Jemina, I think that just puts to bed any confusion, any stress, any day. Maybe
Amen.
some of us never experienced the challenges that other people are talking about because we just get that.
And you know what? You are so right. And I say this because you don't even need challenges. Honestly, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, if that's what comes as a form of education, you also can't run away from them, you know. It's just how you choose to view it. It's how you choose to approach it and how you choose to respond to it. Okay. Because a lot of things will be projections at times. You know, remember, you are dealing with people that you don't know here. You don't know those people, basically. You guys are just strangers, you know. But, and you being there will trigger some people. And it's a, hence, it's a calling and it's an expansion and an education of oneself in the fact that you get to learn about people, you get to learn about life, you get to learn about yourself, your own limitations, what you know, you get to just learn. So hence I say everybody comes out the better. So for me, it never makes any kind of sense when people want to run away. So basically I'm running away from being better for 2 weeks, you know, for 2 weeks. And I say this and I speak from personal experience when I say that I am not the most domesticated person around. I am not the kind okutele, you know, but I understood when I was married, I understood that when I go to my husband's homestead, Uguti, that is a requirement. In fact, they didn't even need to tell me. I went there and I psyched myself to say, right, no, it is you, baby, doing this thing. And you're going to have to summon up all the energy you need to do this thing and get through it. And can I tell you something? Because the intention and the motive was pure on my side, the amount of support I was met with without having to ask for it was amazing. And it was so humbling. And it made me want to do this even more because I would wonder, how did these people know? How is it that they would set up things to make all of this easy for me? You know, it's as if they knew and understood. With, oh, shame, this one, oh, she's not really built for this. You know, so I think it's because Nami, I gave myself into that and I understood. And I mean, there would even be times when my ex-husband would say, no, I can speak to them to tell them not to work you too hard. And I'd be like, no, leave it. I will do it and I want to do it. You know, I don't need you stepping in and no, leave it. I will go through it. I signed up to this. Zoimela, you know, until the end. And yes, Shane, he did understand Uguti. For a week after we came back, I was just non-productive and I needed to be booked in for massages and all sorts of things. But, you know, and I promise you, I gained so much from that. And like you say, the fact that the marriage no longer exists is neither here or there. I was forever changed by that experience. I became a better person from that experience. I learned so much about myself from that experience. And I know that if I were to decide to do it again, to get married again, I would be such a better wife based on that, So when people deny themselves because I'm tired, because money, because there's a lot that you are missing out on, and forgetting ukuthi you are preparing soil for your children, and this will come back to haunt your children, because everybody remembers umasbanbani, who came here and Yazi was such a great makoti and was willing to be part of us, and they will never mistreat abantwana bakamasbanbani who came and gave herself over to this thing, showing that she actually wants to be here and she takes it as a privilege to be part of this family. So I think those are some of the things, because for the makoti who has excuses before they even arrive, nobody even wants to touch their kids, because like, already your kids are labeled and victimized and due to you failing to meet stuff that you consciously signed up for but are now refusing to do. So I think people, when we think and talk marriage, especially for women, and I know the feminists will come for us and say, why is all of this directed to the women? Yes, men have a role to play. They also have their things now that they learn and benefit and. However, as a woman, it is you who gets to benefit, who gets to learn, who gets to do a whole host of things, simply also because of the spiritual office of you being a woman and going into another family. There's so much more that goes into you just saying, I do to that guy, and so this is why it demands so much out of us. So much out of us. And so we really, really need to think deep and hard about whether we want to be part of these things, and to understand that it goes way deeper than just having a beautiful wedding day at a beautiful venue. Yeah, there is a lot. But also, don't go on people's perceptions and dramas, but go there with an open mind, because it really can be such a beautiful, enriching experience. I still am a firm believer of the institution. If people approached it and understood it for what it was meant to do, it is such a beautiful and enriching institution. So yeah, but I think we must just educate ourselves more about it, more than anything. Tina, our generation, take your education and your westernization and your modernity, put it all aside, learn about the essence, then you will reap the benefits of that institution.
Absolutely. So maybe let's talk about, because there's no running away from the fact that some families really do make it hard, even when you come with your open mind, your open heart, your pure intentions. They make it really hard for you to be able to get the benefits of the institution of marriage, for you to be able to get the value exchange from marriage that you are meant to receive from entering into the sacredness of marriage. So let's talk about maybe meeting your in-laws where they are. And this will touch into what you just mentioned, Uti. Men also have a role to play. So this is where I'm going. Okay. The person who will help you meet your in-laws where they are and create the safety for you to be safe, kind of create a barrier around you to even if the environment is toxic, that placenta, so to speak, that barrier around you will be created by your husband. That's his role in this whole cotizaring period. So a lot of women, lack that support from their husbands. They are met with expectation from the husband to but they are not met with the support of you know your family better than I do. You know the toxicity that exists. You know my level of tolerance to that toxicity. Now, as a man, you need to step into your role and your obligation as a husband, because as a husband, you gain an obligation, and your obligation is protector. So, as a makoti who has to go into this toxic environment, because I want to meet my obligation gracefully, how do I receive the support and the protection of my husband so that when I go there, that toxicity doesn't take away the value that I'm going to fetch there for myself? It doesn't even take away the value that I'm there to impart. Because the moment when you're telling it's a value exchange. The moment you set foot, your spirit already unleashes things there. If you are a medicine woman, your presence will bring that toxicity to the surface so that it can be transmuted just by your mere presence. Now, when you've done that sort of spiritual work as umakoti, without even touching the pots, without even doing anything, just your mere aura has done that. That is a taxing experience on the body, on the psyche. You need a container that is a support. You need a husband who's going to be like your husband, your ex-husband, who would say, I'm going to talk to them. I mean, my husband takes on me every 5 minutes, Shem. He's like, because he knows. I mean, I'm a hermit. So, and with my aura, my energy levels, they get drained very quickly. And once I'm flat, I'm not the nicest person to be around. So not to just protect me, but to protect the people in his family as well. He keeps coming to say, are you still fine, or do we need to go? Are you still fine, or do we need? Because he knows then the moment I'm out of this level, yummy way, I'm valuable. Things are not gonna go right. Things are gonna go sideways. So it's that loyalty to me and the loyalty to his family as well that allows him to be the protector. So where does that start? Let me ask. Where does it start that we come in to this thing together? Because we are meant to come into this KOTIVILLE season together as a couple, as a union. But some women are walking there alone. KOTIVILLE is not a woman's job. It's a husband and wife job. That's why more and more people are jumping in, abambise unkosikazi wakhe emabhodweni, ayenze zonke lezi zinto, and then it becomes taboo and drama. Because our parents never experienced that protection. So how do we instill that protection? How do we have our men step up to the plate and meet their obligations?
So I think it starts from the conversations we have as dating couples long before we're married. So apart from talking about, all the other nice things we want to, let's also talk about our family dynamics. Let's also talk about, especially when you have seen, okay, this is a relationship that is serious, and yes, marriage is our ultimate destination. Let us talk about those dynamics. And I want to clarify what I said earlier, where I said when you're a girlfriend, you've got no business. When you're still boyfriend and girlfriend, when there's family lunches and stuff, your boyfriend can take you to his home after the lunch is over as a guest, not to sit at the table, to hang around, when all of the formalities have done and stuff. And that's where you get to sort of observe and learn. Yeah, but What I meant is you don't go there and be washing dishes and stuff. No, 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 no. You can go as a guest. You know, you are a girlfriend. They get to know, oh, okay, there's somebody in his life and all of that. So that is the time. Use that time wisely to observe for yourself the dynamics of his family, but also talk about stuff. Talk about the things that happen within your family. So how does your family approach this? How do you guys handle this? Wara, 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 all of those things. You know what questions to ask, ne? So that because it helps in terms of preparation for both parties. So if your husband doesn't have issues with you being a little lazy, he doesn't, but his mom and his aunts will, so you are sort of preparing each other to buffer that. Yeah, but and where now things are difficult, right? I think the one thing also that you need to be wise, especially as a woman, when you start getting to know his family and you are now married, find allies. Not everybody will dislike you. Someone, at least one person will like you, and stick to that person. And why I say that, they will also act as that buffer when your husband cannot be there to do the protection. You see what I mean? So this other person can come in whatever format. It can be his sister, it can be his brother, a cousin, anybody. But, just so that now you are protected and you have little safe pockets that you have planted over here that will help you when you feel like, okay, things are not going in my favor and things are becoming difficult and I think another important discussion to have is to have this conversation. So if you're a married couple, you should have already having these conversations before we enter into the last quarter of the year to talk about, okay, how are we going to do this? Because you've seen with the past couple of times, we've had problems in this area, and that area whenever we go home. So is it a matter of having a shorter stay? So instead of us being there for 2 to 3 weeks, is it a matter of us being there for a week? Is it a matter of us being there for 3 days next? Work around those things. Talk about it. Talk about the finances, the budgeting, the expenses, and all of those things beforehand. Don't leave those things too late. And have the one who gets along better with people where you are going to start. In fact, that should be the husband. So if your husband has a mom with expectations, he should start that conversation with the mom early to say, Mama, this year hasn't been great financially. So maybe you were used to getting groceries to the value of 5,000 Rand. This year we can only afford 2.5, half of that. How's that? So that they start, yes, they won't like it, but I think if they are told beforehand, so that they can also mentally prepare, because remember, Pella, the in-laws, Nabo, the mothers, they like to brag to their friends with, oh, my son and the wife are bringing me groceries of this much, so just preparing them so they know what to tell over there. Yeah, but because I think also non-communication a lot of the time leads to these tensions that happen, because you leave it until you arrive to tell them that, no, this year we can only afford a grocery 1,000 Rand. You got them used to a grocery 5,000 Rand, so I mean, we also cannot be ignorant to the fact that people budget around these things. People plan. People, they decide, okay, I know what I'm getting this, I'm getting that. So if you leave it for too late, it's bound to cause, tensions and people being upset and those things. So it's about, having the foresight about the things that are problematic and going in there with a game plan. Going in there with a game plan, because the same thing that we want our husbands to do in their families, you should also be doing for your own husband at your own family home. Because I'm definitely sure there's things that your husband falls victim to where you need to step in and say, this is not going to happen. We are unable to do this, whatever the scenario, whatever the situation is, So it's about becoming a team. I think more than anything, the success of marriage is based on the two people who have come together, understanding that we are a team. We need to be in each other's corners at all times. So if your one partner is facing forward, your back, you guys, your backs back to back, they are looking from the back, from the sides. The minute you start having issues about moving as one, then it's easy for people to come in the middle and mess what you guys have or are trying to build, you know. So it's very, very important. There are lots of people who still get to go to the in-laws over the festive period, who you will be very surprised to find that the in-laws don't even like them, all of the, but they still go. But why? Because they have an understanding, they have a game plan going in, they know what they need to do. And it's as easy as saying, okay, we'll only be here for Christmas Day, or we arrive Christmas Eve, Boxing Day, we're out. Because we know that if we stay longer than that, it's going to cause troubles, not only for ourselves, maybe for our children. You know what your situation is. So don't walk into it blindly where you are bound to become a victim, especially if it is something that has happened before. You know which relatives' houses not to go to, the ones who want to bully, who want to, stay away. It's okay. Everybody knows, because it cannot be that it's been happening for the past 4 years and nobody has seen it happen. No. And also speak up. Just because we are talking about the value exchange and you learning, it does not mean that open yourself up to abuse. No, because now you are no longer learning anything more. You are just being abuse is abuse is abuse. Speak up to say, okay, you know what, I had the best intentions for this, but clearly I can see which there's some people who want to make this experience difficult. So I'm no longer going to be able to go wherever. And some of the conversations, like you said, are to be had by the husband, because this is his family. He needs to be the one to set them straight, because his loyalty is now to you. Not that he stops loving his family, but his loyalty should now be to you as the wife, and vice versa. When we are now going to my home with my husband. So yeah, have a game plan. Don't leave things for too late. Do not. This period is coming. Do your planning early. Start communicating with the relevant people. And it shouldn't be an issue. It should, so much so that even if you feel like you want to skip Christmas at home this time around, communicate early, then people won't be upset. People become upset because they are told on the 6th of December that actually we're not coming, we're going on holiday overseas. What about my groceries? And that's where the upsets come from, when we don't talk in time and we don't make provision, for our absence and all of those things. So yeah, let's just talk, have a game plan, and budget plan, communicate while there's still time.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Foresight, planning, communication. Those are the responsibilities of our husbands. So this is what I have to say to husbands around the whole kotizaring thing. Kotiza will expose a disloyal husband. It will expose a disloyal husband. It will also expose an irresponsible husband. It will also expose a husband who is in denial about his family dynamics and the reality of the quality of life in his family. For a man, that is what marriage will do. It will expose your weaknesses as a man, because marriage is meant to strengthen a man. So if you are having trouble as a woman during kotizaring season, it means you have a disloyal husband. It means you have an irresponsible husband because he does not prepare for your exposure to his family and his family's exposure to you, that is a responsibility that he carries. He is disloyal to you because loyalty doesn't start in December, by the way.
Oh, hell no.
Loyalty is expressed from the day he says, I have identified somebody over there. From then, his loyalties are to you. So what does loyalty look like? You know that thing that say, uyamspoil umfazi wakho wena, umfazi wakho ukudonsa ngekhala. That is loyalty.
Yes.
That is the definition of loyalty. That's what loyalty looks like. So that's for if your husband needs education around what loyalty looks like. That is loyalty. That's what KOTIVILLE season will do. It will expose the maturity or the immaturity of your man, manhood. Sesikhuluma nge-manhood ke manje.
Yeah, in general.
If your man is not a man and he's still a boy, KOTIVILLE season will expose that. Because a man stands up for his wife.
Oh, yeah.
A man hates his wife. A man's loyalties is unwavering towards his. Do we all make mistakes? Yes, we are supposed to. It's allowed. It's expected. How? What do those mistakes do? Those mistakes show us where we need to grow. Those mistakes show us the things that have changed, the things that are not serving us anymore. That's why we go there. So that we deliberately put ourselves in an environment that is stressful, so it can expose the weaknesses that your man needs to turn into strengths. That's why we go there. And when these things happen as wives, we come back and we backlash and we criticize and we do all of these things. And this is where we are now meant to support. Again, now I must show my loyalty to my man. And I'm lucky because I'm showing my loyalty to my man outside of an audience. There's no audience. He's under pressure because his loyalty must be shown and expressed within an audience. Always. That's the difference between men and women. Our loyalties, see, now we have some sort of grace because our loyalties are seen just between the two of us most of the time. But Yena, his loyalty is always on public display.
A man must always declare, proclaim.
Yeah, that's what they do all the time. It's non-stop. So this is what marriage does. This is what KOTIVILLE is about. This is what the KOTIVILLE season is about. It's a season that is valuable to both of us as a couple, to the entire family, because the family values are going to be exposed during this time. The family weaknesses are going to expose. It is an opportunity for growth for everybody involved. That's why things go wrong so much during this time, because it literally is a growth season. It is a season that comes to expose. No matter how well things go, there will be that one thing that we will all leave as, then this happened. And then we forget the whole 3 weeks, because there will always be that one thing, that one event, because that's what's supposed to happen. That's why we go there. We go to fetch those things. So then we go back and we work on them. Then we come back next year, we see what else needs to, because marriage, remember I spoke about the function. Now I'm going to give you the purpose. The purpose of marriage. The purpose of marriage. Marriage is a portal. It is a gate. Please hear me well. Marriage is a gate. It is a portal. This portal, this union opens a gate where blessings are supposed to enter this family and curses are supposed to exit this family. That is the purpose of marriage. Our feelings, the romance, the houses, the cars, all the stuff that we spend time worrying about. God did not design marriage for that. When God says, I want to enter into this family, there will be marriage. When God says, I need things to be rebuked and exited out of this family, phila kungena ngumshado, ingcebo ingena ngumshado, ukuhlupheka kungena ngawo, kwehluleka emshado. That's why ingcebo ingena ngawo umshado. That's why people always ask, you know, the most loyal women, somebody asked me this the other time, Ati, why is it that women who are divorced go out of marriage and then they prosper? And I say, if your husband was disloyal in marriage and it exposed his disloyalty, his irresponsible, his immaturity, and the woman was obedient to the calling of the marriage, and she met her obligations faithfully, that woman will walk out of there and the portal was open. Ingcebo wayithola because she was loyal. She was obedient. And she will walk out and she will be prosperous because it does not matter whether you stay or you go. Did you honor the call? And so that's why most women, because marriages end because a lot of the times men are just disloyal, immature, irresponsible. They fail at doing what they are meant to do. And so women who were loyal, women who were obedient to the calling of marriage, when they walk out, they become successful because the gate was open. The things came in through the portal. And the laws of creation and the laws of prosperity and abundance, nothing is ever wasted. Those who you reap what you sow.
It's so
That's
true.
just that. That's just that.
Honor. Yes, the coach as you're saying, this honor is a big part of marriage, a huge part of marriage. You first honor yourself in this institution. What does honor mean? It means you treat yourself like a prized vessel, meaning you respect yourself. You respect the fact that what you say, what you do is a reflection of what's going on inside of yourself, that people get to see, oh, she is this way, you know, so you carry yourself.
The good, the bad, the ugly. That's what honor is. Without judgment, pure observation and expression. That is
good. You honor yourself. You honor your husband. You honor his family. And obviously, by honoring yourself, you are honoring where you came from, the family in which you were born, because now you are a representation of how they brought you up. Ever had, you know, she wasn't raised well, because you are now a reflection of how, you understand? And then you honor his family. You honor even when circumstances don't allow. You honor even when you have mother-in-law issues. That woman may not like you. That woman may even tell you in front of people how much she dislikes you, bad choice you are for her son. But when you honor yourself, you will do what you need to do for her out of honor. I'm not saying you open yourself up. So what I'm saying is, when you are making tea, you do not skip your mother-in-law because she told you how much she doesn't like you anyway. You still make her tea. Let her be the one who rejects your tea in front of people, or you honor That is honor. And then people will say, but yo, we saw that girl, we saw that young woman fulfilling her duties as a young makoti, and her mother-in-law did not want her. And now the onus is on the mother-in-law, because now she's been exposed for who she is. Where now you played your part until it became impossible for you to do so. You met your obligation. Yeah, so what I'm saying is, when I coach Londi, as you say, you know, if you are not ready to grow, and if you are not ready to mature, if you are not ready to become a better, because I always say this, I've always said this to you. I walked into my marriage a young girl, not even a young woman. I walked into my marriage a young girl, and I was in my 30s when I got married. I wasn't as young as, you know, I walked in there a young girl, and I came out a woman, not even a young woman, a woman, fully fledged, fully fledged. I came out of it fully fledged based on all of the things that I learned, that I allowed myself to learn before, during, and after. And I continue to learn long after it's been over. True to form. I continue to learn. There's still things when I reflect and I'm like, ooh, you know, this I learned over there. This I came out changed. I can never go back to who I was before I entered there. I learned what it is to be of service, to serve with honor, dignity, and humility. I learned how to serve, and I learned how to do it with love. There's nothing I enjoyed more, and this is such a shock to my system, even to me. There's nothing I enjoyed more than hosting my in-laws in my house. As lazy as I am, I loved it. And it came from the heart. Those are versions of me I never would have met if I hadn't gone into that institution. You know, I I honestly enjoyed it. I enjoyed waking up and doing the early breakfasts, you know, preparing the bedrooms, doing this, doing that. And it made my heart feel so warm and fuzzy. And I know that it earned me a place. I didn't do it to please them. I did because I wanted to, but it is a version of me I never would have met had I not gone into it and accepted and embraced the role for what it is. It gave me so much more. So what I'm trying to say is that go there with an open mind, guys. You know, sometimes my ex-husband would be jealous. It's like, you seem like you're having so much fun over here. What is it that you're getting from my family that I keep missing? Because you just, I don't know, you just seem like you're in your element. And then I'm like, I don't know. I never thought I'm this way myself, you know, because I walked into, well, the challenge is definitely, that's why I'm no longer married. You know, when I was there, I made the most out of it, you know, and the most out of it came from me understanding fully that also I come here clean, on a clean slate. I don't come here with preconceived ideas. I go in and I take things for what they are. Yeah, but so cut that thing off. Yeah, people will do this. Cut the stories. Go in there and experience it yourself and be open and try to have fun with it. And also, because I promise you, I know that when my ex-husband saw how much I was immersed and enjoying this role, he also got on the bandwagon and started getting so much value out of it and enjoyment, you know. So it can be that kind of adventure for a couple that grows you, that brings you closer together, actually, you know, because, you know, romantic love has a start and a finish, and it's not always available. But it's those things that when you fully immerse yourselves in as a couple can actually serve to bring you guys together as a couple, you know, and help to deepen the roots of what you are trying to build and build a good and healthy future for your children, you know. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
give it a chance, guys. Give it a chance, you know. Give it a chance. It may just surprise you. Some people need to go there to learn how to stand up for themselves.
I can talk until the cows come home on this one. It's really because it's such a significant and valuable and useful experience. And I think also that's why a lot of people who are outside of it want it so much, because it carries so much value in our lives. But to those who, because we've spoken about those who go there, just maybe as a last note, to those who feel like they are ready to go there, and to those who force the situation to go there. You know, we were speaking about the men protecting, honoring, you know, and being loyal. You also need to do the same. Protect yourself from premature and immature exposure to these things. Because that's where people get heartbroken, and then you lose faith because you walked in, you put yourself in there before your time had come for you to walk in there. So as uma wengane, as intombi, as whatever, if you have not been invited into the family, honor that.
Yeah.
Honor that, you know, honor that, because that invitation is very important. That invitation is the key to that portal that I was talking about.
It is.
That invitation is what protects you. Because when that portal gets opened, hey, yay, it's a lot. And without an invitation, you're not protected, you know. So you need that invitation. It is for your own protection. It's the protection that your husband's family and spiritual family is able to use for you. It's that shield. It acts as a shield. So without the invitation, you even end up sabotaging the relationship itself. The relationship might end because when you stepped into it too soon without being invited. So in as independent as you are, in as clear as you are about what you want and what you are ready for, in as much as you need to be loved urgently, whatever, there are certain things that you really should respect. The initiation process of marriage is one of those. The initiation is very important. The initiator is very important. So let's wait for those invitations. It can get annoying. We've all waited more than we would have liked. But wait, because it's for your own protection. It's for your own empowerment as well. So let's wait for those invitations and honor where we are. That's all I have to say.
Wow. What a deep one. Yay,
I was not ready.
What a deep.
Me too. Bengizokhuluma ngama-magic papers, nama-activities abom-next, nama-classes savana. Oh, where's the fun stuff? How could you take me there?
And I think you and
you really took to my Makoti era. Like you took me there. No, guys, I do know my story. Trust me. I've been initiated in this thing.
So yes, I think, would I do it again? Yeah, probably. I think so. I don't know. But anyway, guys, done the right way.
I know you will. I trust you.
Guys, imnandi, guys. Yes, it's really Nandi. When it's done the right way, oh, it is so beautiful. It is so gorgeous. Like, yes, 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 yes. Anyway, remember, guys, to please join us. Get your tickets to join us on the 9th of December at Naledi Farm. We are starting from 9 o'clock. We'll be done by, say, around 4. We're going to be talking about stuff, man, guys. We need to end those toxic cycles that keep bothering us and keep us stuck in one place. Let's grow for real. When we say new year, new me, let it be true this time. So you will click on the link that we will include under this video to get your tickets. Please also look out for the Black Friday specials that Coach Lundi and myself will be running. You may just get a chance to win yourself a ticket. So yeah, be on the lookout. We cannot wait to see you on the 9th of December. But we'll be talking about all this and have fun while doing so. We promise you that we will have fun while talking about these things.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm the most fun out of my friends. I shock myself.
Okay, good guys. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Eziko. Listen, if it gets this heated via a recording, imagine what happens when we are all here. Okay.
Magic. We'll see you next time.
Oopsie.